Alright, so I just finished my title slide. What I'm going to do is start to add in, not add in, but I'm going to change scenes now. So I'm going to go to my scene button. And last time I set up a couple different scenes, so I'm going to go to straight ahead. Notice that it gives me a nice new stage. I'm going to fit that into my window. And first thing I'm going to do here is, thinking ahead, I'm going to take one of these layers and make it called title. And that's because what I'm going to do is take this and say straight ahead. All right. Next one is going to be just where my action is going to happen. So I'm going to call this one my action layer. Yep. I'm going to turn, so in my layers here, I'm going to turn that off, and I'm actually going to lock it so nothing happens to that layer. My action slide, what I'm going to start to do is start building up a shape here. Actually, in fact, what I'm going to do is take these and go ahead and build up all my frames. So I'm going to go to 72, select those, and press F5 on my keyboard. So I've assigned this scene to be 72 frames long, which is 3 seconds. So I have straight ahead happening there. I'm not going to animate that, just leave it as it is. This one, my action layer, is where I'm going to do most of my work. So I'm going to close that out so it's not so distracting. I'm going to lock it. What I'm going to do is straight ahead animation. So straight ahead animation is going to be basically a frame to frame animation. Every single frame, I'm moving an object. So I'm going to start off with something simple, and I will choose a brightly colored green ball with a black exterior stroke. So I'll start with that. I will choose it, double clicking it, and moving it up to a corner here. All right, so notice that when I do that, I built that on my action layer, not on my title layer. Now, what I want to do is take this and start making some motion happen. I'm actually going to select that first keyframe, so only that is selected. I want to add a new keyframe now. I need a new place to assign a position for my circle. I can right click frame 2 and choose insert keyframe. And so once I do, it's waiting for a place to move to. So there, I moved it. Once I move it, I don't know where exactly I just came from unless I undo what I just did, or if I go here. Well, that can be kind of tedious once you get really into animating different objects. So what I would do is use what's called Onionskin. There's Onionskin Outlines, and there's Onionskin Shape. So I'm going to choose Onionskin Outlines. And so as I advance from one frame to the next, I'm going to zoom in here because I'm having issues. Once I do that, now it leaves an outline behind where I've been or where I just moved to. And so I got two different colors telling me what's happening. So once I'm there, I can go to the next frame, press F, or go to insert keyframe again. My object is still selected, so I'm going to move it over. And so on. I'm going to keep doing this until I've built up some motion happening. So I'm actually going to start using F6. And when I do that, here it is again, pressing F6, it advances me and adds a new keyframe. So it's ready. So I can have my hand on the keyboard, F6, one hand on the object, F6, F6, so on. And keep working this all the way around. Keeping this all pretty much the same. So now when I move, you can see the motion that I just created. simple action between frames. My onion skins, if I wanted to see more, I could do that. That way I can really check out like the trajectory of this ball. Now I'm at a point where, hey, I'm hitting a wall. Most balls that are going to hit the wall are going to have some sort of squash to them. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take that into account. Let's see. Boom, boom. All right. So I'm going to F6, and I want to alter the shape of this ball a little bit to show a little bit of squash. I can squish it like that, and then I have to move it down, which is all good and fine. Or I could take this pivot point down, squash it right there, maybe slide it over a little bit, and I will do, hold on a second, F6. I will move that little pivot point, squash it down, slide it over, F6. I can start to expand it, move it up, F6. I will give a little stretch now as it's moving up. F6, move it up, maybe bring it back down more to its normal shape. F6, keep moving it up. F6, and keep this ball going. All right, so we kind of get the idea. I feel that a decent squash and stretch, I like how it kind of has a little bounce there, a little wobble at the end. My ball is not exactly the same size as what it started, but that's okay. I got the squash and stretch. I'm showing the straight ahead technique of animation. Now I'm at my last frame here. I'm going to keep going, and I'm going to continue this and kind of do the same thing. I'm going to keep going through this, and I bounced off of one wall, did a little bit of squash and stretch, and I'm going to keep bouncing, and I want to do the same effect and play this through. And you can hit play down here and see what you're left with. Now it stops at 72. Squeeze that down and turn off my onion skin. I can play this with the loop. Now there's not a whole lot of loop happening, but I can focus that loop on just the frames that I have animated. And there we go, simple. If I want my heading to show up, that's fine. This is how it's going to end up looking, except my ball will bounce around 3 different walls before you call this finished. If you don't finish, if it doesn't stretch you all the way to the end of 72 frames, that's fine. You can have a little bit of dead space at the end. If you need to carry on and stretch out your frames further, you can select out here and press F5, and it will extend your frames there instead. So if you decide you don't want that, you can drag it back there, and you can delete your extra frames. I'll just remove those. I don't think I'm going to need them. And yeah, so continue this on, bounce off another couple walls, and keep it going with the frame to frame or straight ahead animation. And that's all for this scene.